With this, Stephen Roberts, is people are finally starting to like Obamacare?
Well, look, Obamacare, let's be honest, Obamacare, McGraw, has had a lot of problems. It was oversold by the president. Famous statement, you can keep your doctor. The rollout was badly handled. Premiums have gone up in part because the marketplace is so uncertain. So there are a lot of problems with Obamacare. But it's also true that 20 million people have insurance today that didn't have it before, and many of them are enrolled in Medicaid. 31 states accepted funds to expand their Medicaid. In many, many states, including states with Republican governors, Nevada, Ohio, Arkansas, there are many states where real people have benefited from this program. So with all of its problems, it has acquired a constituency. And in our poll, as you point out, people were asked, which do you prefer, Obamacare or the new Republican bill that is now stalled in the Senate? By 2-1, people preferred Obamacare. So the Republicans are faced, McGraw, with a terrible political problem. If they don't repeal and replace, their base is going to say, you campaigned for 7 years on this promise and you broke your promise to us. If they do pass the bill, they're going to own a bill that potentially is wildly unpopular. Not too many good choices there.
What I find fascinating is Democrats, once they passed the Affordable Care Act, didn't say a word about it, right? Didn't campaign about it, didn't talk about it, didn't go out and sell it. Republicans now, you can't find a Republican anywhere who is out talking about the benefits of this Affordable Care Act.
Well, that's true. And because it is a bill that it tries to do several things that are very hard to do. One is take away benefits people already have. It is certainly true that the rising cost of health care and entitlement programs like Medicare and Medicaid do pose a long-term threat to the health of the federal budget and the size of the federal deficit. There's no doubt that that is true. But it is very difficult to say to people, once they have a benefit, once you've expanded Medicaid in 31 states, to say, well, we're going to take that benefit away from you. So politically, it's very difficult. And the other problem is that they are monkeying with the health insurance system in a way that just about everybody says cannot happen. If you create this freedom of choice proposal that's in this bill, championed by Senator Cruz and others, everybody, every single economist who has ever looked at this, liberal and conservative, comes to the same conclusion, that well people have to pay the bills for sick people. And then if you allow healthy people to opt out of the insurance pool and either not buy insurance or buy very low-cost policies, the premiums for the sick people, the people with existing conditions, they go through the roof, and it's unsupportable. That's the whole basic principle behind insurance. Everybody shares the risk. It's true in auto insurance. It's true in home insurance. It's true in health insurance. And so they're trying to defy a basic law of economics, and that's the other problem.
So, Stephen Roberts, you have the most conservative member, Rand Paul, and one of the most liberal Republicans, Susan Collins, both saying they're against this. And they're still holding on to this 50. But it sounds like nobody wants to be for it, but you can't say that. So they're in this sort of murky little area where they want to vote against it, but they don't want to tell people they're against it.
Well, and Susan Collins, you mentioned, the moderate from Maine, said over the weekend on TV there were 8 to 10 Republican senators who were privately very unhappy with this bill, given the fact that she and Rand Paul both against it. If one of those 8 or 10 come out against this bill, it can't pass. So the odds are very much against it. But there are these counter pressures here. You know, you look at someone like Senator Blunt, your own senator from Missouri. He's part of the Senate leadership. He is committed to supporting this president. Every Republican senator, in one form or another, has a vested interest in President Trump's success. They're in this together in a very basic way. That R after their name. They can't wipe it away. They might try to avoid it at times, but basically they can't wipe it away. And Republicans have a magic moment here, McGraw. They control the House, the Senate, and the White House for the first time in memory, and maybe for the last time for a while. And so they all have there's a lot of pressures here to get in line. There's a lot of pressures here to cooperate with the leadership. There's a lot of pressures to put points on the board so that they can go to the voters in the next election and say, we kept our promises and we enacted something. So for all of the doubts people have, there are counter pressures. You have to understand that. That's why people are slow to publicly break with the Senate leadership and with the president. But in the end, I think the numbers are just not there. And I just don't see how this bill passes.
Stephen Roberts, ABC News political analyst. Have a good week. Thanks for checking in.
Okay, pal.
7:57.